How do you do
Yeah.
that?
So this is through the Zoom platform. Have you ever
Yeah,
used Zoom before?
I have it on all my platforms. I didn't know you could record on it.
Yeah. So if you go into your settings, you can. I think they give you like 2 gigabytes or something like that of space to host all the recordings. You could either record them to the cloud, or you can record them to your computer. So I
Huh.
just record everything to the cloud, and I use Zoom a lot. So I end up recording a lot of the conversations I have because I've got like a little coaching business that I do Zoom calls through.
Very cool. Very cool. I don't know. I'm sure you've seen this, right?
Yeah, dude.
So I'm trying to figure out what to do with that. Part of me was like, I'll start a YouTube channel. I don't think I can create my own website because of our company compliance. So I'm trying to find a way around, where I can have videos, or instead of me just riffing on Facebook and it not stored anywhere, somehow get, this stuff out there.
Do you know if your company would allow you to have like a vanity website, like how you have like johnpuritz.com, and then just like basically a website that's just about you, and you know not necessarily anything about the company, but just like what you're all about?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I wonder if I could do, manupalreadybook.com
Mm.
and do it that way. I got to find out, because and everything on there will be obviously just personal development. But they got to be able to police it. So I'll have to find out.
Yeah, that would be interesting, because that's a
Yeah.
great way to just get your story out there, man, and get the message out there.
Right. Right.
So, dude, we haven't talked in man, it feels like forever, but yeah, we probably haven't caught up in like 6-8 months, something like that. So I was just thinking about you, bro, and I just wanted to just catch up. I looking from afar what you're doing on Facebook, and I love the energy that you're bringing to your purpose. So I would love to talk a little bit more about that, and go down the rabbit hole again with you.
Cool. Well, tell me what you're up to. I mean, how you got a coaching business now? What's up with real estate? Like, where are you at?
Yeah, so still running my real estate team. I've been building that. So we've got a team of 8 people, and we're actually the number one team in our brokerage. And
Awesome.
yeah, we're top 1%, actually top 0.5% in the entire county. So so yeah, we're definitely we're definitely doing some great things, and on paper it looks really really good, but when you walk into our culture and you get to know our people, it's like it's unbelievable. So yeah, we've just got a great culture, and just I'm surrounded by some just amazing people. So that definitely helps. And one thing that's just really important for me, dude, is just staying in my identity as an abundant leader, and just having leading with my heart, and unconditional love, and really just like sharing the gifts that I've been given through mentorship, but also just the intrinsic gifts of just having a huge heart, and really craving that authentic connection with people, and spreading that message out as much as possible. And through that, we end up manifesting some cool shit. So
That's awesome.
yeah, man. So
awesome.
yeah, we got the real estate business. I have a coaching business as well, where I've got 12 people that I'm coaching. They're agents that work here in the brokerage, and yeah, just basically, and that's actually like what I really love doing.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I'm right there. Same thing with me.
Yeah, I just had a call come in, so let me just mute all this stuff out. But yeah, the coaching aspect is like just what makes me feel totally alive. Like, I mean, I certainly, love working with clients, and it's really cool to help people, purchase a new home, or sell their home, or kind of just move on to that next chapter and align with their goals through real estate. But man, it just feels so good. Like, especially like helping a brand new agent, just like making their first sale, or, you know, even a seasoned agent that kind of like has that ceiling of, you know, 10, 15 deals a year, and just like doubling that and,
Right.
you know, getting to that level. And it's really just about, like, in my experience, it's just about who you become. You know, you don't really have to do anything outside of the box. It's just, you know, doing the same thing that's always worked, but just really becoming the person that, you know, manifests and attracts that level of success. So like, that's a lot of my coaching is mindset coaching more than anything else. Like I tell them, like, yeah, if you have a contract question, or if you have like, you know, if you need to figure out what script you're going to use, I'm an expert in that, but that is not my value here. I'm so much more valuable than that, because you can find that anywhere. You know, what my value is really inspiring you to step into the identity that's calling for you, that's going to manifest the results that you want to create in your life. So that's kind of the message in the coaching business. And it's just demanded more of me, and, you know, me showing up as a really abundant leader. And,
Right.
that journey has just been really incredible, dude.
That's awesome. Good for you.
Thank you, man.
Good for you. Yeah, that's good. 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 It's funny because, you know, you become, you know, like, left to our own devices, I think we sabotage, right? We overthink. But when it's about others, when you're in that space of, I've really got to show up because this person's either watching or looking for, it's like parenting, right? I mean, if you really take on parenting in the way it's supposed to be, right? Of making this person better than we are, then you got to show up. Is it, you know? So coaching and teaching and anything where you're dealing with others, that's what really, it forces you to be better.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very fitting that you use that analogy, because I found out I'm going to be a daddy in June.
Oh, come on. Really?
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
So,
Congrats.
and I've also found the hack to having a bigger why is just have kids.
Oh yeah.
So
Absolutely.
no, but I'm super excited, man. So that's another journey that you know, that I'm, you know, another identity that I'm stepping into is you know, being a father, and that's just
You're
like a
going to be
really
a great
cool
dad.
feeling. Thank you, man.
Yeah, you will. No doubt about that.
Appreciate it, dude.
Yeah. That's, you know, that's where the book came from. I mean, the book just, I can't, if kids didn't show up and what I wanted for my kids, you're right. If you need a bigger why, that for sure is it. It really is. But even that, you know, it can't be, what I have found is it can't just be, I've got to take care of my kids. It's got to be so much bigger than that, right? Just meeting needs is not going to get it done. It's got to be, who do I think early on I really understood, and it wasn't until I came to Florida that I'm going to be the guy that my daughter measures every guy by, and my son should look nowhere for a hero but the one in his house.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, why should our kids find better than us? I never, you know what I mean? Like, that's just unacceptable. That just says, well, you know, there's sports role models, and, you know, like, Ethan's a drummer and he's going to find great drummers, and I'll be the first to admit I'm a good drummer. I'm not a great drummer, and my kid will surpass me. And I really want to see that because he's putting in the time. But when it comes to character, integrity, morality, all that, no way.
Well, yeah, that speaks to me, man. Like, that is, I think that's like the epitome of leadership, because you don't necessarily have to be the best drummer to train the best drummer. You just have to have the leadership to guide them through the challenges of being the best drummer. And that, you know, that is, that's what we're meant to do, is to receive those gifts and kind of go through that journey ourselves, and you know, provide that wisdom and, you know, that inspiration, and you know, just being able to guide somebody through that despite the challenges of, you know, everyday life, and
Right.
you know, the thousands of things each day that pull us in all these different directions, and really just staying true to the heart. So I love that, man. Tell me more about, like, you know, like, I think I started talking to you like right before you were really intentional about getting this book done. But tell me about that journey.
Well, I think the book has been, it's just been in me for a long, long time. There was a couple of moments that really kind of kicked it in gear. One was I had a guy in my business who came full time, and he's, young 30s, right? I think he just turned 30. Got a wife, 2 kids, and he at the end of last year he lost his job, and he had proven himself in our business that he could do the business. So I said, if you're smart and you have enough finances set aside, you can, work through the holidays, work smart, really, really kick butt, get after it. And come the new year, this was at the end of 2018, you'll have things in place where you'll start to really gain momentum. And they had the finances aside and they had all that stuff, and they didn't do anything that we recommended. Nothing. Mm. And one day his wife shoots me a text and says, I don't know how much more of this I could take. And there's a picture of him in the middle of the day playing Xbox. Mm. And I wanted, it was just kind of like, dude, will you please, listen, it's you and me having a conversation.
Man the fuck up.
Just man the fuck up. And that was really like, man, I've seen that too many times. I've seen, let me check with my wife. I've seen this movement of more single moms, more women jacked up self-esteem wise because a weak male made them think that they were weaker. Mm. And I've seen this pattern over and over. And I really thought that I was going to write the book for women because I just made a decision that I'd rather train women. I know what the funny thing with women is, at least I know what I'm getting. They're very open. They're very authentic. They're hardworking. They're mentally tough. And you're finding more of them having to do it on their own. Mm. So I just kind of was like sick and tired of this male poser, candy ass, mindset. And then I went to something called the Millionaire Mind Intensive over the summer. And, there's a lot of great people in there. And on Saturday morning, they said, hey, walk around the room and just say hello to people. And I met this lady really, really briefly, but if you ever meet her, she stands out, right? So she's unforgettable. And so we connected on Facebook and we started to develop this conversation. And I said, hey, I'll drive down. Your energy is off the chart. I just really want to know you. And we had lunch, and she's a book coach. She's a book coach. And she said, I'll have your book done. You'll have a book done with me in 2 days. And I went, 2 days? I met some lady in January who pitched me 10 grand to write a book. And she was like a fraction of that. And it would be done in 2 days. And she's like, you need, a book gives you more credibility. It does, all these things. And I'm like, yeah, I know it's in me. I know there's bigger. I got to get this conversation out. And I liked her and I trusted her. And so I moved forward. And no joke, the book was written in 2 days.
Wow, dude. I mean, what does that even look like?
Well, I can't tell you the whole process because that's her process, right? That's her business.
All right, cool. Well, dude, I don't know what the, what her preference is, but man, I would love to connect with her. And
yeah, her name is Alejandra Vedar, Vedar. She's connected to me on Facebook. Just look her up.
Awesome.
But she has a process, and she went through that process, learned that, screwed it all up, And here's a crazy thing, dude. From thought to printed copy was 120 days.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's incredible, man.
And it's funny too, because, I think I might be the only one that was in that weekend with her that did it. And if you're the kind of person, which you are, is listen, I'm not going to say I'm going to do something and then I stop halfway through. It's going to happen.
Right.
I think it blew her away. And you know, my goal is to be the most successful person that she's coached, because I'm not playing around with this. This is, for me, I'll be 49 in April, Dean, and this is the next level of my life. I mean, what is in this book, and the book, you know, you write a book, and then after it's done and you get all the feedback, you're like, wow, now I know why there's certain books that come out and it's revisited. Wow, yeah, I didn't think about that, you know, like, but when I was done, I was like, there's no more. Anything that I add to this is going to be me trying. I just tried to really let God just speak through me and let it flow. I think you can book in 4 hours.
Wow.
But
that's awesome, man.
I want to create impact. You know, my dream is to be out there speaking, right? To walk into companies, to walk into churches, to walk in and obviously be compensated to be there, because, you know, I really do want to do that. But I think the message of this, and I'm really speaking to your generation probably more than I am mine or older, but we're losing a lot of the things that we were created to be as men. I said this to my son. I said, you know, you got to pay attention, because there's a saying that says what is tolerated will one day be celebrated. And we are tolerating men not to show up. And now you look at this women movement, and now this Me Too movement, and all these things that are breaking men down. And I firmly believe that, you know, I believe in spiritual warfare. I believe that there is good and bad, light and dark, you know, all that. And I believe the enemy of good, absolutely, right, if he can remove men from the equation or their power, can create a lot of strife.
Wow, man. Yeah. So that just charged me. Like I love this conversation, dude. First of all, and I would love to bounce some of my thoughts around this to you, and would love to get your perspective. Sure. And you know, because you've really like been super intentional about just like diving into it. So like really curious to hear what your perspective is. But, you know, I've been doing a lot of work with like the masculine and feminine energy, and the lens of which I look at that through sometimes. And I totally like, you know, heard this somewhere and just like kind of made it my own. But it's like, you know, like the way that it really applies for, you know, for my life and specifically my business is that there's, you know, there's the achievement energy, which is a masculine energy. And then there's the alignment energy, which is a feminine energy that's very receiving, you know, yeah. Versus masculine energy is very, you know, results oriented, pushing forward, fetching the answer, versus, you know, the aligned energy is more like, okay, I'm going to be super present and just receive what's available for me right now and allow it to come to me. So like this thought has been super interesting to me. So like, you know, I kind of like, you know, just looked at like a lot of the moments that I've had in my life, which, you know, obviously the journeys that we're meant to take are just perfectly crafted curriculum by God for us. And so like, there's no changing that. And I would never want to change that. But I just remember like really early on, when I started my first business at 18 and I was just in a place where I just needed to achieve, that actually wasn't like, that was probably the highlights of my achievement energy where that really broke through. And I was so far on one end of the pendulum, where I was so achievement focused and so just wanting the results. And I, you know, it surfaced later really why that was, which I'll kind of circle back to that. But like that to me was the most important thing, where the alignment energy and the receiving and the really just the loving, you know, like my heart was kind of like shut down, or at least like clouded, so that my mind can perform. And so, and you know, when I kind of sit with this, if I had to put a place where the achievement energy lives, it's in the brain, and where the alignment energy lives is in the heart. And so like, so much of my life, and really how I developed like a lot of great skill sets and got connected with a lot of great people is through that achievement energy. And it really all started as a kid where both my parents were both very loving parents and had a great childhood, and there's really nothing I can point at to say like, oh yeah, that was really, really rough. My journey with that was that I love, obviously I love both my parents, but I craved my father's love so much that the way that I received love from him is through achievement. So when I'd get a good grade, or I'd play sports and get a touchdown in football or whatever, those were the moments that I remember receiving the most love from my father. So I was like just programmed. That's when the achiever, was born, was when I saw this feedback system of like, I achieve, I receive love from the person I crave it most from. And that drove me through like I said, a great journey. But, as I'm growing more in my spirituality and just like really finding who I am as a person, like this, especially the last like 5 years have been really like just super profound for me to like do that inner work and that, have that journey and appreciate that journey. There's just, the achievements started to feel like kind of empty, where I'm just like, man, I'm killing it, but gosh, like there's something more. And I don't know what that is. Is it achieving more? Is it, like, it doesn't feel like achievement is the end all be all, and achieving is so much of my identity. So it's not like I'm, I want to meditate in a cave for the next 30 years of my life. But I know that there's that part of me that I really had to be like super intentional about, about procuring. And that's the feminine energy, which is the alignment energy, and like really listening to my heart and, just like exploding that open. And what I like my journey, like, and this is kind of the I guess if I wrote a book, this was what it would be about, would be like the fact that, the achievement energy got me like that foundation and some core skill sets, and just like really just the confidence in myself and the belief that anything truly is possible.
Right.
And then from there, now it's like, okay, well, I know anything's possible and I know what can be done and what I could do, but what feels really good right now. And that's like the whole alignment journey for me. So, and I just like part of that, like kind of my mission statement and like 2019, I'm really focusing on getting there is just like, really fully claiming the gift of like my authentic expression and connection with people to inspire, just, inspire more of that, inspire more love and just more alignment in the, in getting to that next level. And through that, I've like just the last year has been so fucking abundant, like so abundant. And, and it's not the achiever energy, it's the balance of having that like achievement and alignment energy. And, the hardest thing in my journey from going from like really exploring that alignment energy and looking into the heart is really vulnerability, which, going back to your point, that is what I believe men's weakness is like, if men could just invite more vulnerability into their life and into their identity, there could be such dramatic change in how men show up in the world. So, and that's my perspective. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, that's why I put one of the, the book has something called the 4 pillars that I think God calls men to stand on, which is integrity, humility, authenticity, and morality. And authenticity is what you're talking about. Authenticity is, it's funny because there's everything that you just talked about, I put in here.
That's awesome, dude.
A lot of it is really in here. There's something that I put in here on created for purpose. Yeah, I don't. I remember like there's a lot in here on idolatry and making the wrong things the things that we focus on.
Mm.
Because what happens is, we can spend a lot of time sitting there. I use our business as an example: the plaques, the trophies, the shirts, the blood, all that crap. But that's not what it's all about. I'm trying to find it in the book. What I put in here, but it's all in here. There's so much in here now that you're talking about it. But from an authenticity standpoint, it's showing up and knowing that you're not you don't have to be great. You have to be the best version of yourself you can be right now, knowing that. I think, and this is the thing, this really is my whole take on Christianity, and I think Christians miss this probably more than anybody else, is, Christ, if you believe in Christ, he came to one is save that which was lost, which is a man's heart, by the way. And so there's such pretense, right, in the church. And then, okay, I'm a Christian. It's like, I don't even like saying that anymore, because Christians have become the Pharisees, right? The very thing that we were saved from, Christians have become, in my humble opinion. But I think as men especially is, and this is what you're talking about that transparency, that vulnerability, is if we would just admit that we're really fucked up, number one, that number two, that's why we have a savior. Right? Thank God we do, because then imagine if we didn't, then it's really bad, because we're really that screwed up. You know what I mean? Being able to say, hey, Dean, I'm screwed up. So are you, but we're brothers and we're trying to and that's why this happens, is because you and I admit that we're not perfect. We're vulnerable. We're you know what I mean? And authentically showing up and saying, look, I struggle with this. I put in here the power of your posse and how important it is to have the right people around you that you can go to and say, look, I don't have all the answers. Maybe you have some, and maybe together we can, strengthen each other, because this is a process. If men would just get that, and society, by the way, doesn't want to have that. Like, it's funny, because Trish and I were talking about this whole Me Too thing, and, I forget what it was, where somebody, it was the man made an inappropriate comment, and then so-and-so is calling him, like all that crap. And she goes, but that's men. Like, if men don't do that, that is men. Men do that. We're visually stimulated, right? God wired us that way, and we say it. But we've got to a point now where, think about that. If we as men have to watch how we express our passion, what's actually happening, I've never thought about this until right this moment. We are now stripping passion away from men. And we're in trouble, because men have to fight a battle. They are the ones that do, spiritually and physically. And if we don't, if we've lost that passion and that purpose, we are really in trouble.
Yeah. Wow. That is a profound thought.
Right? Think about that. I mean, that's what's happening. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Hey, how are you? Good. You? Thanks so much. No problem. All right. Sorry, I was waiting on that delivery.
It's all good, man.
But that's, and that's why this book is so, like, this stuff has to start, we have to talk about this. We're so afraid now. And by the way, Dean, I never was that guy. I really, truly, like, when these things come out of my mouth, they're coming from a logical space, not a emotional space. I'm emotional about them, but I have always viewed my spirituality from a logical standpoint, if that makes sense, right? If I'm going to say, this is what I believe, it better make sense. And it's not, like, I researched the crap out of it. It just doesn't come. And I am telling you that we are watching men being taken out from a spiritual plane, which is going to wreak havoc on our society.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on, like, matriarch societies of the past.
What do you mean?
Like, because there's stories in history that that suggest that that those societies were more matriarch in nature, and the women were glorified, and those were the kind of the spiritual leaders, versus a patriarch society, which is the men are the spiritual leaders.
I need an example, because I actually don't know what society that is.
Okay. I don't know what that society that is either.
But let's look at that. All right. If you look at what men and women are created to be, right? Mm-hmm. If you look at the strengths of women and the strengths of men, there are things that are innately put into us that they're innate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're innate. They just are. Men, the way we're wired, the way we receive, the way women receive information, the way men receive information. I mean, there's a reason why we don't process everything the way a woman does, because we do have to act. I mean, there's things like that, right? I mean, so my position is, I think we're so far as a society from original intent, because as human beings, we do that. We overthink. We then put laws in place and societal norms just because something is, like I said, remember, what you tolerate one day is celebrated. I mean, we're watching things today as a parent of a 20-year-old and a 15-year-old. I'm seeing things in our society today that I don't call elevated. I call tolerated. Mm. They didn't exist. There's a big difference between racial equality and certain things that we're now asked to accept. And I look at that, okay, hold on a second, okay? If I look at, and I'm expressing, the views and opinions expressed are not necessarily those of Dean, they're definitely those of John, right? And may or may not be distributed to the public, okay? But there are things that I just don't get that you're now putting in our face. And now we're seeing things that you're actually asking me to feel bad about that 100% go against original design. I believe that, because, I remember hearing people talk about, like when I was your age and people were my age and different viewpoints, and I get society is shifting and all that. And for all the good that we do, people are unhappier. They're unhealthier. I mean, there's a lot of problems that we call progress.
Yeah. Yeah. We almost like put a blanket that we call progress that's just like so surface level and just what it appears to be versus what it actually is. And which is like just really covering up complete dysfunction and like misalignment.
Yeah. And back to your, matriarchal comment, let's say that, and I don't have a challenge with this at all. Let's say I'm in a relationship or, and the woman is the one that's the main breadwinner, right? There's nothing wrong with that. What would be wrong with that is if the guy is there's something broken on the inside and he holds it against her. Mm. You know what I mean? And that's typically what you find.
Right.
That's because I think you're the kind of person, I'm intrigued by that. If I meet a woman who's like crushing it, that inspires me to go crush it even more.
Totally.
Right? That's the iron sharpens iron partnership. And now, you know what I mean? Like, but often you'll find it's because the woman, is, I don't know why we got on this topic, but I think that we're missing that what's going on the inside of men is so broken that we're looking for every other reason other than back to, right, you have a baby on the way. Don't you want to be the greatest possible father you could be? Mm. And you should, right? And I wrote about it in the book. That baby didn't choose to be alive. You're responsible, right? And I challenge you. You should be the greatest example of what a man is for that child, so that they grow up and see something completely like just They don't have to look left or right. It's right in front of them, guiding them, molding them. That to me right there is the greatest honor, privilege, and mission of our lives.
I love that, dude. I totally agree. It's funny because I just got back from Costa Rica, and I was there for 7 days for a I don't even know what the easiest way to describe it is, but leadership retreat, but doing some spiritual work and just getting really aligned with who we are as with the identity, like the full expression of our soul and our identity and who we are at the very core. And that identity of being a father is so in me. And like I wrote down this quote. It wasn't really a quote, just sort of like something that just like came to me. And just like my mission, bringing this child into the world, there's no other option than me being the best. Like, that child is going to experience the best version of Dean that the world's ever seen.
Love it.
And I love that thread, because like, there's so much, I mean, men and women, I see this, like just so much, I want to say entitlement, but also like lack of, just lack of ownership. Like they just don't own it.
No.
And,
Agreed.
and that, I think that's, dude, that's such a great message, man. And how could I get a signed, autographed version of that book?
You could have got one yesterday.
Well, hey, I called you yesterday. Isn't that funny?
Let's see. I just need to be up there, and we'll put one in your hands, because you'll get a lot out of it being a new dad, for sure.
Awesome, dude.
And it's written from that perspective. You'll get a lot of it. You really will. So
Great,
it's just you and I catching up, and I can get that in your hand.
Awesome, dude.
You know what? Or better yet, if you want to Venmo or Cash App me $15,
cool.
I literally, I don't know if you can see this, but I've got, those are all copies that are going out.
Nice,
if you like, I'll add you to the list and send you one now.
That'd be great, man.
Yeah,
I'll do that when we hang up here in a little bit.
Okay.
Dude, yeah, how can I support you, dude?
Well, I with this, it's really, it's funny, Dean, because things like that television show, that thing that we did, and that all those things were working to get this book out. And this is what I want to do. We've talked about a podcast. I've got to get this conversation out to people. The book was the catalyst, but it's the leaping off point. I don't really want to be an author so much as I want to be a speaker who, puts out a book every now and then. You know what I mean?
Dude, when I think of you, I just have to share this one word that I think of when I think of you is like influencer. Just influencing the masses. And like, the book, speaking, just being around you, like you're just the epitome of influencer, dude. And I just acknowledge you for that and just love you for that.
I thank you, buddy. That is best compliment of the day. That is the next level of my life. It really, really is. So I'm looking to, if I can get in front of corporations, churches, if get this book out to guys, whatever. I don't know. I'm kind of flying blind here I just know one day my dream is to speak in front of a stadium-sized crowd and just influence people that way. And I want to do that globally. And I know that the funny thing is about this message, and you can hear my passion, it's not about me. It's not even about money. It's not about my financial business is my financial business, and that's my business. But this is my life. This is really what I've been created and put on this world to do.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, man. I could see that so clear.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, and the fact that it's not driven by ego or, you know, a financial gain or anything like that is the exact reason why this message, I believe, will go far. And I just want to support you in any way that I possibly can. And I would love to, you know, reopen that thread of the podcast, because, like, you know, this conversation, I mean, we're just scratching the surface, and the book is just like literally the launching pad to much more discovery and, you know, and what the world needs. And, you know, this is one conversation just to kind of dig into that. But I believe there's many more conversations to be had.
I'm getting chill bumps just this, and I could get emotional with you.
Please,
but this
dude.
came to me, and I want you to roll this around. You're how old?
I'm turning 31 on Monday.
On Monday.
Yeah.
Wow. Happy birthday, bro. I don't have
Thanks,
I do not have that in my contacts. That's got to be.
Thank you, man.
Dean, you're 31. I'm going to be 49. How, man, it's like power and passion and purpose just hit me. How amazing would it be for you and I to create a millennial Gen X ongoing conversation about what it means to be you're just starting, I'm sending them out into the world. What could we really, it's not about, like, yeah, there's the business conversation and all that, but what about a conversation on how to, you know, you're just starting out, been down the block a little bit, and really educate, equip, and empower men to be better. I mean, think about it. You've got both generations. That would be ridiculous, bro.
Dude, I think we're on to something there. And I mean, we've known that from the beginning, dude. I mean, we've been talking about this for fucking months, since we pretty much since our first conversation. Like, hey, I don't know what this is. All I know is that I'm really feeling this, and I'm just like, there's something there, you know, and there's a purpose behind it. It's not just a feel good thing, you know, by itself. It's like a purpose driven, you know, relationship that we've been able to receive. You know, we just came into each other's lives just sort of randomly, and like, that's no mistake. And I think to honor that is to listen to that voice. And so, dude, I'm picking up what you're putting down 100% and totally in alignment. And like, also that gives me goosebumps just thinking about that I get to receive from you. Like, I'm just really looking forward to, you know, like picking your brain and receiving some of your gifts, and anything I can do to, you know, support that conversation. Cause I am in alignment with what you said about, it's not about me. It's not about you. This is about the song that wants to be sung.
Oh, that's good, man.
That's and we're just the choir.
That's really good. Wow. I love that, man. I love it. We need to really, in 2019, like, stop talking about it and really put that in play. I'm committed to this. Like I shared with you, this is the next evolution of my life. When I say that, everything has led up to this, this conversation, this message, the crazy thing is, it's a message for men, but women are reading it and hearing it and going, that's exactly what I've been trying to convey.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, not too many people are, I don't hear it. I mean, if it was, I mean, think about it, right? You got Milet and you got all those guys. I mean, they're all talking, right, about success and being full and complete and all that, right? There's a lot of that right now, but if this conversation was really huge, we would have heard it.
Mm.
Why are we not?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If people are passing names like Grant Cardone, Ed Milet, Darren Hardy, if we're hearing all those names and we're hearing, you know, oh, Joel Osteen and, you know, what's his name? Eric, you know, the E.T., Eric Thomas, you know, if we're hearing all these names of these, you know, success people and business people and Tony Robbins and all that, where's the man? And it's not even just a spiritual conversation. It is just simply, where is this conversation?
Right.
And it's not.
Yeah. It's like a paradox because like, you know, the masculine, you know, archetype does not like to have these vulnerable conversations where they self-discover and they, you know, like the thing that masculine energy just like, you know, gets crippled by is criticism. And so like that criticism, and you know, it oftentimes just comes from ourselves, like, oh well, I don't want to talk about that, I don't want to show myself in that light. But like we have a saying here in Keller Williams that what you deal with gets dealt with.
Yeah.
And so just like taking full ownership of just like, hey, this is who I am and this is the full expression of who I am, and I'm working every day to just be more of that, and less about like fear about, you know, what other people fucking think. Like, you know, I think the epitome of a man is to be completely vulnerable with like who they are, but just fucking owning it. And
right,
just
because
being like,
power in that ownership.
Yes.
Right? There's power in that ownership. That's the one thing that women have that men don't have, is most women are responsible. Right? They take probably, you know, if anything, it's almost extreme responsibility, right? To the point where I call my wife sometimes a martyr. I said, stop being the martyr.
Yeah.
Responsibility, right? Because somebody else is, though the masculine side is passing that off because they're too afraid of it. You know, but there's so much power in that responsibility for you to say, listen, and again, I wrote it in the book. There's a story where I screwed up, and the only way to actually move past that was to go to the person who I was so intimidated by to say, I fucked up. Because once it's there, right, it's like landmark. You know, you're right. And if you give up your right to be right, look, you're right. Right? I fucked up. That's it. I apologize. Now we can be productive.
Right.
Right? There's all that responsibility. Anyway, like you said, we can go down the rabbit hole for a long time.
Dude, 2019, man, I'm putting it on my calendars, or putting it on my goal list to like, let's just just like spend a few minutes just talking about what that could possibly look like. Cause that's really exciting for me. And dude, I've been feeling this calling for, you know, really the last like 5 years. I don't know if I told you about this thing I used to do back in Miami when I lived there, but I used to hold a group called Man Talks, which is actually it's a national organization. Actually, it's a worldwide organization at this point, but like I ran like a little chapter in Miami, just facilitating these conversations. And it's all about like, you know, what it means to be a modern man, and, you know, deal with the things that we deal with, but like, deal with them in like the most abundant and powerful way, you know, and as like the true embodiment of what, you know, what the essence of who we are really is. Right. And like, that is a conversation that has spoken so loudly. And that's part of the reason why I just like wanted to, you know, have a recorded call with you, because like, I know there's just gonna be some good shit that we start talking about. And I know this has been the thing that you've been really delving into. And I just wanted, you know, like I said, I just don't want to forget anything about this conversation. So, like I have you know, I'm like kind of beginning my journey, you know, and you're like, you know, you've passed a few checkpoints in that journey, and you've got some great wisdom to share, you know, from a perspective that I haven't been there yet. And I have, you know, I'm of the perspective of like, you know, I'm a young man, and I've got, you know, I've got businesses to run. I've got people, I've got employees to pay, and families to take care of, and, you know, all of these other things. And it's like, you know, the question always comes back to, who do I have to become to just really feel just like so abundant and just crush and influence? Like, you know, mastering the influence is like, you know, another part of like the, you know, a part of my journey is like, how do I influence more people and influence people to just like, you know, so this is like, man, such great practice for me. But, you know, again, it's not about me, you know, it's not about you. It's not about one individual person, but rather it's really, it's probably more so about our kids and their kids and the future generations. because this is these are conversations that can leave a legacy. Like I think about Jesus Christ, like that man, like if there's the like most abundant leader that's ever lived, or at least among the most, Jesus Christ would be that abundant leader. Like he, from the age of 30 to 34, like the impact and the influence that guy had to be able to, change and to inspire and to just like show a different way. And really it all came from the heart. It was just like, you have, it all comes from within. And I believe, that Christ's consciousness is available. And we have moments of time where we tap into that. We feel that, like I'm like right in this moment, I'm feeling like super abundant, full of energy. I would have no issue talking to 1 million people right now just because of my state of energy, and I'm feeling like that Christ energy, that Christ consciousness. And I'm like kind of tapping into it. And I'm like, man, if I could just be like this, like, just more and more and more, like that is a fucking awesome journey.
I think I really, and it's funny that you talk about that, because that's the 4 pillars, bro. I mean, if you look at Christ, his integrity was right. You couldn't buy him. His integrity was his integrity. His humility. I use him as an example. That's the example I use for humility. Here's the Son of God taking his clothes and washing his disciples' feet, and then saying, his disciples say, "What are you doing? I need to be doing that for you." And he goes, "If you don't let me do this, you'll never learn what it's really all about." And then his disciples go, "Oh my gosh, well, you wash my feet, wash everything." You know what I mean? And that's the position of here's God on his hands and knees doing the nasty stuff. That's humility, right? Is being to know that it's not about me, doing the right thing, morality, authenticity, bringing your full self to the space that you're in. I mean, if you look at, I think why Jesus was able, besides the fact, I mean, it's the Son of God, right? But he was a walking, talking, breathing example of what everything we should aspire to be is, that it was without question. So that's the energy. That's the, I'll say this, if I've learned anything along the way is it's way harder for us to not be those things than it is to be them. And then what happens is that you look upon your life, and let me make sure I say this properly, because everything's intentional. But I don't think influence is not necessarily intentional. It happens when you live life a certain way, right? Like I've learned over time, I can't change people. I can inspire people to change by my example, but I can't get them to do anything. So if I can't get anybody to do anything, I mean, you and I can sit here and talk for hours, but we're going to end the call, and then you're going to go do what you're going to go do, and I'm going to go do what I'm going to go do. But maybe we can, if we inspire others, I've learned that over time that we spend a ridiculous amount of energy trying to influence other people instead of just becoming better people. Because that's the thing, that's the light that shines, that, and that's what Jesus was, is the light shines so bright on a society that didn't have any of that. We still don't. Right? It's just that conversation has grown and grown, and it's been manipulated and disrespected and all kinds of stuff. But I think that in the end, you become a person of influence because of the life that you live and what you put out there. You know what I mean? You can't control that. I think that, because, I mean, look, like somebody once asked me recently, how does your wife or your kids feel about the fact that you wrote a book? I said, I don't know. I said, I'm still the guy that snores and the guy that doesn't know how to fold the frickin' towels properly or puts a dish in the dishwasher the wrong way. I mean, I'm still that guy. So they just go, oh, he wrote a book. You know what I mean? And there he's farting in the corner. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we spend so much time trying not to be, we just are who we are. It's the life that you live that other people go, man, that's what I'm looking for. And there are other people that go, I can't be that. I don't like that, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, we put way too much emphasis on the pose, the facade, instead of, man, just bring your whole broken self to the table and be authentic about it. And life is a lot more fun and easier that way, and more things will come to you because we push more away than we do actually take in.
Dude, that sounds like some truth right there, man.
Yeah. So look, I don't know how the medium works. I've researched podcasting, but I mean, I've heard that it's just, recorded Skype calls, and then that interaction is audioed and put out. You know what I mean? Can we just do that?
Dude, this could literally be our first podcast episode if you want.
Okay.
But I mean, it's not easy is the point. Like, we could just, we could record something via Zoom, put it on YouTube. We could just take the audio out and put it on, iTunes. So like really, the hardest part about and I actually kind of know a lot about this space, cause I've been a part of a few podcast launches, but, the hardest part about it is just, like scheduling the time to have these conversations. And I'm not attached to, any sort of structure per se when it comes to like the content delivery, but we should definitely be structured about like just the time that we commit to hold the space.
Sure.
And just like, create the container and see what grows.
I'm all for it.
And then we'll figure it out over time. I think it would be super cool to just have like a YouTube video, a YouTube channel where we talk about this stuff, and then that gets sent out to all the podcast mediums. Even get it transcribed. That could be a blog post for you.
Wow.
on your site. So I mean, there's a lot of cool things that we could do with it. But this is it, man. This is the gold right here. This is like, and I think having like the really authentic conversations between you and I, like, what does this even mean? Like, really, like, come to it with like a curious perspective. Like, man, I let's just kind of unpack this. Like, how could this show up? How is it showing up for me? Like that would be something really exciting for me to do, is just to like fully like challenge myself to be like extremely vulnerable, knowing that potentially millions of people will know everything about me. Like that actually, like, it could be a little scary, but like in this moment, I feel so fucking powerful, dude, that I want that. Because like the purpose is just like flowing through, and dude, you totally brought this out of me. So thank you, man. Like, this is just a total gift. And, dude, you're just like on point, man. Like, you've got so much wisdom to share. And I'm really excited about reading the book and, exploring that. And, yeah, let's set a commitment right now. Like, when's the next time we're going to talk, and what that's going to look like moving forward?
I'm flexible, man. This is a priority for me. So
dude, what if we just like, I mean, this is so important, man, like for me. And so you have my commitment on this. Like, let's set a time every week where we block off an hour, and let's just see what happens. We'll get like kind of like 5 or 6 conversations under our belt before we like kind of decide, how we're going to distribute this content and how we're going to kind of package it up so people can receive it. But let's make that commitment first. Like, that's every single week. Let's just, spend some time. How do you feel about like first thing in the morning?
Terrible.
Okay. So do you like middle of the day or later on in the day?
I am I'll tell you, the morning is bad for me. It's like early in the morning is when I take care of me mentally and spiritually, and then I'm in the office, and then it's just working. In the evening, it's challenging because I'm out in the field, but I'll give you an example. Like Fridays tend to be pretty pretty relaxed, more than any other day in the week. It could also be a kind of let's do a Wednesday or a Thursday night later kind of thing. You know what I mean? Where the day's over, I can come back to the office and just hammer it out with you.
Yeah, that would be awesome, dude. I'd love to do a Thursday night.
I could do Thursday nights.
So, so next Thursday is the 20th. Do you want to, why don't we plan on like 8 p.m.?
I am, and I hate using this cliche, but I am, like, next Thursday, Ethan's got a concert at the Kravis Center. And then the following Thursday, we're out of town.
Okay.
It's just a holiday crap, of things are booked out on events that are not normal.
Well, let's just figure out a time next week, and then we'll just kind of play it by ear. But let's just commit to just once a week, and each time that we have a call, we'll just set the next time we chat, at the end of the call.
All right. So why don't I can do, if we do Thursday, can we do it like 2:00?
I could do 2:00.
2:00 next Thursday.
Yep. Let's do it, man. Dude, this is so exciting.
Love it. We got to figure out what we're going to call this thing.
Yeah, we'll sit with that. And just we'll see what comes up.
I mean, if you're not opposed to it, I know it's the title of the book, but I mean, I Man Up Already is something that I can tell you this. It has grabbed a lot of attention from the initial phase of the original title was Man the Fuck Up. Then it went to Man the F Up. Mm-hmm. Man Up Already has caught that has been so well received, which lets me know this conversation is very important, because people are like, oh my gosh, I got to buy that for my husband, my son, my this, my that. Like, people are a lot of, parents of millennials. So the title's got to be something that we can say, hey, it's I don't know.
No, dude,
labels like millennial, Gen X are too generic,
I've got a great idea. I think we should call everything Man Up Already.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, let's just keep it consistent. Like, let's, like this is about your message, man. And I'm like a total like servant and participant in, helping you procure this. And this is my contribution to you and your message, but really to the message that both of us really believe in. So how it's received is, if there's some brand recognition there, that's something we need to, be intelligent about. And so, yeah, dude, there's no ego here. I don't care what it's called. I just want the message to be, I think my camera switched here.
Yeah, it did.
So yeah, I just want the message to be received, and whatever that looks like is totally fine with me. So let's go with that. If there's no issues with, you and your branding.
No, I mean, that's what I mean. There's no ego here on my end as well. It's just a message that has to go out, and the title seems to be something that people pay attention to.
Boom. Let's do it.
If we have a conversation, I love the fact that it's our generation. You and I represent two generations that really, and here's something that eventually we should talk about, is the world has changed. Your generation, I think we're going to look back on, Dean, that my daughter's generations, my daughter at 20 looks at your generation and goes, they're screwed up. Mm. Our generation, the 40-something-year-olds look at the 30-year-olds and go, what the hell are they doing? Mm-hmm. And I think you guys are your generation's in the middle of an economy, a social structure, and a world that is changing, and you don't know either. You're just kind of responding and figuring it out. And you know what I mean? Like, you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I mean, there's like I think the perspective of like, you know, my generation looking to like the future generations is actually like with a little bit of worry.
Correct.
Like just a lot of uncertainty.
Right. And our generation is Gen X is this, and it's been this way for the last 10 years because the world changed after '08. Gen X is going, what the hell happened? I used to pick up the phone and call somebody. Now they get mad when I do. Like, that's Gen X. Gen X is like, when did that become a norm? You know, like my sister goes, I can't believe she posted it on Facebook. And my response is, where the fuck else would they post it?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's that, I think that conversation, those types of things, we're going to be able to do a lot of this and bring perspectives. I like the possibilities of that. That is beyond you and I. That is something that the world, that's a message and a conversation the world needs.
It's the song that's being asked to be sung.
All right. We will constantly refer to that quote. I love that.
Cool, man. Well, I appreciate you, dude. I'm so excited for, you know, for just the commitment that you made to getting this out. And, dude, like from the bottom of my heart, man, this is resonating so like profoundly with me. And, there's zero hesitation on my front. So like, let's do this, man.
I love it. I'll get you out a book. Okay.
Sounds good, man. Yeah. Just shoot me your Venmo. And I'll shoot you over the.
Don't worry about it. I'm getting your time. We're gonna go create something together. Let me just send it to you.
I appreciate that, man. That's your first investment in us. Cool, man. Have a great day. Talk to you soon.
See ya.
See you, dude.